Well, folks, the war between Team Tory and Team Meg is only continuing to rage, and both sides are sustaining heavy casualties. And even though I may not be a general in this fight, I am in the front lines, I am in the trenches with all you good viewers, and I know we cannot stop fighting until our king, Tory Lanez, is made a free man. And in fighting this good fight, it is our obligation that anytime we see someone on Team Meg spreading lies, misinformation, manipulations about this case, it is our duty to call them out and debunk them with the facts and the truth. And that's what I'm doing in today's video, because over the last week or two, covering Tory's side of the case and debunking Meg's side of the case, I came across a video on YouTube from a certain Anthony Fantano, aka The Needle Drop. Now, Mr. Fantano has reached almost 2 million subscribers by making music reviews, but for some reason decided to dip his toe into the legal waters with this case by making a video called Don't Free Tory Lanez. And naturally, seeing that he's on Team Meg, I just know it's going to be a bunch of lies and manipulations, and so that's what I'm doing for today's video, is watching his video, breaking it down piece by piece, and debunking every single lie that he wants to spread in it. And so if you're interested in this case, and you want to be able to debunk all the lies from Team Meg's side, then definitely watch this video all the way through to the end, because you're going to get the best arguments for Team Tory. So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Scotty O, aka the Gen Z Attorney, and I currently work as an assistant district attorney in North Carolina, meaning I'm a criminal law guy. I'm in courtrooms all day, every day, and I use this channel to make videos about high-profile court cases where I can use my knowledge and insight to show you what's really going on inside these cases. And so if you like this coverage of the Meg and Tory case, then be sure to drop a like down below to let me know to make more of it. And if you like this kind of content generally, talking about court cases, then subscribe to come back for more. And last but not least, drop some comments down below, let me know what y'all think about this case, and more so what you think about this video with Fantano, and whether or not you'd like to see me and him debate 1v1, not that he'll ever accept, but who knows, stranger things have happened. But yeah, enough of all that, let's just jump into this video. Well, folks, here's the video. This is Don't Free Tory Lanez by Anthony Fantano, aka The Needle Drop. And just a little bit of preface, a little bit I know about Fantano. I really don't watch him too much. I know he's obviously a big YouTuber, known for music reviews, so I guess I can see why he would talk about this case, since it involves one superstar celebrity and one not as big a star, in part because he's currently in jail, fighting for his life. But yeah, so talking about, this is something that's relevant to the music industry, so he's talking about it naturally. I also understand he leans quite far to the left, politically speaking, so I'm very curious to see what he has to say about a justice system that has been unfairly weaponized against a young, successful black man, and whether or not he thinks there's anything wrong with that, or thinks he is in any way perpetuating that injustice by advocating for him to stay in jail, if he catches that irony whatsoever. Also looking to see if he addresses any of the main arguments that Tory's side is making, like why did Bradley James come forward and say he overheard Kelsey admitting to shoot Meg? Why did Kelsey backtrack on her entire statement she made to the police where she said Tory shot Meg, but then when she testified at trial, she backtracked all that, recanted all of it, and admitted she lied when she said that? Is he going to talk about Jaquan Smith, his affidavit talking about he saw the girls fighting and he saw saw Kelsey get the gun, shoot it, and that Tory had to go try and wrestle the gun away from her? Is he going to bring up the fact that the DNA evidence, there was never a test for DNA on Kelsey's DNA, despite her hand having gunshot residue? These are all very important questions that I have not seen anyone from Team Meg adequately address up to this point. So I have a feeling he's not going to address any of those, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. Let's find out together. But yeah, enough rambling, enough yapping. Let's jump into this.
Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well, because I'm not, due to the fact that I have to talk about this story once again, which I'm wondering why it's still a story.
Maybe because there's been claims of new evidence that proves that a successful artist has been wrongfully incarcerated, the new evidence that might prove his innocence, or the fact that he's been stabbed 14 times and almost died in jail. The reason he's only being in jail is because of this conviction, because of the testimony of a superstar like Megan Thee Stallion. Of course, this is a newsworthy story, and I'm sorry that you don't want to talk about it, because maybe you know your side is weak. The Team Meg arguments are weak arguments, and you don't want to defend them because you know they're bad arguments. Maybe that's the case, so that's why you're trying to, sweep it under the rug and be like, oh, what? Pfft, guys, this already happened. It's over and done with. Why are we still talking about it? Just get over it and move on.
Of course, I'm talking about the Megan Thee Stallion Tory Lanez shooting, which, in case you've been living under a rock, there was literally a trial for, where Tory Lanez was charged by the state of California, not Megan, the state of California.
Is that supposed to be a gotcha? Is anyone saying that this was Meg that charged him? My understanding, yeah, this is a prosecution. Of course, it was the state that was prosecuting him. Yeah, I'm sorry that Meg is squarely in the center of it, because she was the star witness, and she it was her testimony that put Tory in prison, because she was the only person who testified to the narrative of events that included Tory shooting at Meg, because she's the one saying he leaned out of the car, pointed the gun at her feet, said dance bitch, and shot at her feet, and the bullet fragments hit her in the feet. She was the only one who testified to that. Every other person that was at the scene, between Tory, Kelsey, the neighbor Sean Kelly, the bodyguard Jaquan Smith, everyone else testified to a different story, that it had Meg and Kelsey fighting each other, had Kelsey getting a gun, her shooting the gun, and then Tory going to try and wrestle the gun away from Kelsey. So yeah, I'm sorry that Meg is in the center of this, but she is the star witness. She is the one that, for all intents and purposes, she's the one that put Tory in jail because of her testimony. So yes, of course she's going to be in the center of all this.
California, and was also convicted as guilty by a jury after days of evidence being presented of witness testimony.
Witnesses.
Now, you would figure as a result of all of this, this case would pretty much be open and shut by now. But
so he unironically just made the argument that because Tory was charged and there was a trial and there was evidence and there was witnesses that testified and a guilty verdict was reached, therefore we cannot ask any questions about this case because it is over and done with. Shut up, stop talking about the case. He got convicted, deal with it, loser, ha ha ha. He's unironically making the argument that juries never get it wrong, that there's never any grounds to overturn a case for any reason whatsoever. Well, newsflash, buddy, cases get overturned on appeal all the time. And so to just, as a blanket statement, say, well, there was a trial and there was evidence and there was witnesses, therefore, we can't ask any questions. Well, let's just ask it this way. Would he say the same thing about Kyle Rittenhouse? Because guess what? There was a trial and there was evidence in that case and there were witnesses in that case, and that jury found him not guilty. So are you going to say, okay, I guess we can't ask any questions about that? Or my guess, based on his political leanings, was he disagreed with that verdict. O.J. Simpson, a perfect example, gets found not guilty despite pretty much everyone knowing, oh, he did it. That's why that's such a stupid statement to make, to say, well, because there was a trial and he was found guilty, therefore the jury got it right just automatically. There's no reason to question anything that happened during the trial. Just deal with it, loser. Like that's an incredibly stupid statement to make, and he unironically just made it and thought it was like a gotcha, like, that's a good point. Crazy stuff.
Actually, when you go on comment sections across the internet, on social media, on any post having to do with Megan Thee Stallion or Tory Lanez, you will find tons and tons and tons of comments about how Megan lied, she's guilty, free Tory, put Megan in jail.
So, yeah, of course people are saying Megan lied because we have documentary proof. She's on film. She's on film lying about key facts of the case. And we know that because of the evidence that came out from the trial and also her own statements later where she admitted to lying. Or she's admitting to a different version of events than she previously stated, thereby proving that her initial statement of events, she was lying. Like saying in the interview with Gayle King, she never slept with Tory. Yeah, she came out later and said, yeah, I slept with him. What's the difference?
Did you have an intimate relationship with him?
Like sexual?
Yeah. Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gayle King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch, I always want to talk about this shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory?
So why do you think he's putting out the story that the two of you had a relationship and that you're making the whole thing up?
I think that he is trying to deflect from the fact that he committed a crime.
That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Bitch, you kept catching me out of my fucking mind.
Or in their interview with Gayle King, she said she didn't put her hands on anybody.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
Well, evidence from the trial is that her and Kelsey were fighting. Every witness there testified that her and Kelsey were fighting, but she denied putting hands on anybody. So yeah, we have proof that she lied. So I'm sorry that the truth is inconvenient, but the truth is still the truth. And if people are commenting it saying she lied, I'm sorry you don't like that, but maybe get a better argument. Maybe actually deal with the points that are being made instead of just trying to dismiss it as, well, this is just crazy. Why would anyone say this? And by the way, I know we're only a minute in. This is a short video, but I'm still waiting to actually get to the points of substance actually addressing the points that Tory's team is making instead of just making these broad generalizations like, well, he got convicted, so what's the big deal? Or, well, why people need to be nicer to Megan? So yeah, actually get to the points. Actually address the subject matter of the case, please. I'm begging you.
Instead of Tory. And these calls and proclamations have definitely reached a fever pitch as of late, especially in the wake of this recent story having to do with Tory Lanez being stabbed while in prison, which I will say outright here, I don't advocate for. And while going to prison is obviously supposed to be a punitive experience, it should not be one that just like threatens your life merely by being there.
Wow, so bold, so brave. He thinks people don't deserve to be shanked to death in prison. What a bold, progressive, woke king. Amazing.
This is most definitely a problem. There are a lot of people on the internet who, for whatever reason, want to make this Megan's problem. She is obviously feeling the heat of all of this on some level, especially when you consider a recent Instagram post from her, where you can see here Megan essentially is going on a rant, kind of just flabbergasted that this hate campaign against her, basically making her out to be the sole reason that Tory Lanez is in jail right now. Her, not Tory, not his own behavior and actions, Megan. Yes, it's all
Yeah, she's the one. She is the one person who testified against him that the jury, I guess, believed because they convicted him. She is the only person who testified to that version of events. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but yes, she is the most responsible for him being in prison right now. So I'm sorry that she's getting called out for that and that her inconsistencies are being pointed out and that her credibility is being questioned. But guess what? Anytime a witness testifies, their credibility is always a question. Sorry, I understand you're not a lawyer, but you're commenting on legal matters. So allow the lawyer to educate you. Anytime a witness takes the stand, their credibility is squarely in question. And you can ask them any question. For example, if I'm cross-examining a witness, I can ask them any question in the world that would call into question their credibility, that would impeach their credibility. And so I'm sorry that makes you uncomfortable that her credibility is being questioned, but her credibility is what matters the most in this case. So yes, of course it's going to be questioned. Of course.
Megan Thee Stallion's fault, and she needs to be called into question for it constantly and harassed relentlessly. Now, part of the reason that I'm also talking about this is that this harassment campaign is elevating beyond just comment sections on social media, as recently things began to ramp up with a Republican Congresswoman, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who has devoted a good deal of her Twitter feed to this topic as of late, and she just kind of started tweeting about it out of the blue, like she has shown no interest in Tory Lanez or this topic previous to all of this.
What does that matter? So she didn't care about it before, she cares about it now. That happens with literally anything you take an interest in. Like, I didn't care about this case until I looked into it, and then I started caring about it, and I started making videos about it. So that's literally how interest develops, and you're trying to hold that against her is like, well, she didn't say anything about this case, and now all of a sudden she's this huge advocate. That's just a non-argument. And I will point out again, though, we're almost a third of the way into this video, and we still have yet to actually address any of the points that Tory's team is making. It's just more distractions, more deflections, and I think it just speaks to, I think he understands he really doesn't have many arguments to defend Meg with, and so he has to distract, he has to deflect away, and that's just par for the course when it comes to the arguments that people on Team Meg are making.
Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this woman cares about this trial that happened a while ago and is talking about how unfair the criminal justice system is and so on and so forth. But like, again, her concern for that only seems to extend as far as...
He's not doing it. He's not addressing anything she's saying. He's just, oh, look at all this crazy... She's obsessing. She's saying all this stuff about it, and she's obsessed. But, okay, yeah. Actually, address it. Address anything. Anything on here, please.
Tory Lanez, like, you're a congresswoman. The criminal justice system has been skewed against people of color for years and years and years now. And all of a sudden, it's like a big issue to you when it's Tory Lanez and it's after he's already been convicted.
Okay, 2 points on that. First off, if she sees an injustice, if she sees an unfair weaponization, like in this case, you're saying, oh, so now you care about it. It's like, so what, as opposed to what, just don't care about it? Say, oh yeah, this is a bad case. This is an injustice that happened. I just, whatever. It happens. I don't really care. So Because if you said that about any other case, you'd be like, ah, look, another example of a person in power, this is a congresswoman, a lawmaker who makes the laws that are then enforced to put people in prison. Another person in power who doesn't care about the skewing of the justice system. So you're putting her in a lose-lose. You're saying because she does care, that's just weird. Like, oh, now you care. And so that's my first point. Second point, once again, the rich irony that you, Mr. Fantano, Mr. woke progressive man, does not realize you yourself are perpetuating the injustice that you just criticized, that you said has affected people of color for too long. You yourself are perpetuating it now by advocating that a wrongfully incarcerated black man should not be freed. So look at that face. Like he's so smug about it too. My goodness.
Anyway, she has been tweeting as of late about new evidence coming to light, and she's going to be dropping new evidence for all to see that's going to exonerate Tory, and it's going to be like crazy. Oh my God, we got to free the guy. It's going to be coming in 36 hours. Watch out, strap up, get ready. Oh my God. Now, 36 hours later, after having tweeted this, the evidence or whatever it is did actually not come out. Took multiple days later, in fact.
Okay, May 20 to May 29. Fair enough. It was 9 days when she promised 36 hours. Whoop-de-doo, you got her. Gotcha. Checkmate. Tory needs to stay in jail. Look how shameless this is. He's quibbling with stupid, irrelevant facts to point out, oh, look how stupid Team Tory is, instead of actually addressing anything that she's saying. Please, I'm begging you at this point, just address a single point that's being raised instead of just quibbling around the edges with irrelevant facts about this case. Gosh, get into this. We're over a third. We're almost halfway through. Please, I'm still waiting.
Fact for it to get to us, and it has arrived in the form of this new website that I guess has been put together by Tory's legal team or just somebody representing him in some form or fashion. 36hourslater.com, which, I mean, at a quick glance of all of this, I'm sure if you're stupid, this is all very convincing. Look,
so at a quick glance, it's convincing because if you find it convincing at a glance, it's because you're stupid. Now, my last video I made on this channel, I went through this entire website bit by bit and broke it down piece by piece and pointed out the parts where it was dead on, 100% true, and also the parts that I thought were a little undercooked, underwhelming, that could have had more to it. So I was fair with that. I called the balls and strikes as best I could. But he's saying if you believe anything on here by looking at it, you're stupid. But Mr. Fantano, I would challenge you to call me stupid or uninformed when I promise you, if we were to have any sort of debate on any element of this case, I would mop the floor with you on the facts of the case and the law of the case. But I know you're not going to accept the challenge, but I stand here ready whenever you are. I mean, I work at a 9 to 5, a regular job, so we'll have to work around that. But I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. Needle Drop. But I know you're not going to do it. Even if you did see this challenge, you wouldn't do it because you know your side is indefensible. So I would just continue to fight in the front lines with all the good people that have been coming to this channel. Which, by the way, if you're new to the channel, appreciate you being here. Been getting a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new commenters. It's been great seeing all these fresh faces. Hope y'all stick around for some more stuff. But anyway, let's see why we are stupid for liking this website.
They have court sketches. Oh. They have photos of Tory and Megan and other people, and they make it look like the photos are taped onto the backdrop. Oh my gosh. Now, if you go on this page.
So you're stupid if you like it because it has photos and that look like they're taped on. Once again, it's the nonstop deflections. He, instead of addressing any of the substance, he's instead going to say, you're stupid because you like this website because it has photos of people. What if I like the website because it makes good arguments that you're refusing to address? Maybe that's the case here. But nope, cannot address it at all.
Page, they really try to lay out a whole narrative that honestly is not new. Like, this is the same shit we've been seeing in anti-Megan comment sections over and over and over again, but it's just on a website.
So he's claiming that nothing here is new. Right off the top of my head, I can tell you, at the very least, the affidavit from Bradley James stating he's overheard Kelsey admitting to shooting Meg, that is new, and that is huge. That is a huge development in this case because he didn't come forward because he didn't feel comfortable. He wanted to maintain the confidentiality, his work as a bodyguard, is a bodyguard for celebrities. You being trusted to not go to paparazzi, go to the media about what these celebrities are doing, behind closed doors, that's a big part of your job. So he didn't come forward for years, but after seeing Tory get stabbed and almost die, now he decides to come forward, which is fully understandable. So just that by itself is a huge piece of new evidence that I'm very excited to see what he has to say about that, if he addresses it at all, which my guess is he's not going to address it because he's a coward and he knows he can't defend his side of things. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
Referring to the her stepping in glass stuff as if that has not already been explained, because if you actually remember the story, Megan originally told the police that she stepped in glass and was not shot because she is afraid of what would happen if the truth came to light. This has already been explained by Megan. This has already been publicly acknowledged. The only people this is convincing to are people who have not been following the narrative up until this point. Another major...
Okay, so he's talked about the glass, and I know I saw the comments on the last video, folks saying I didn't watch the body cam fully through. Pretty sure I did. I played the body cam full screen of the door opening, the bottle falling out, and her stepping right where the bottle had landed. I still am not fully convinced that her feet were bleeding because she stepped on glass, because especially too, since then I've seen the photos of her injuries and that they are a little higher up on her foot, like more towards the Achilles area. And if she stepped on glass, then I would expect to see the injuries almost exclusively right on the bottom of her feet. I don't know how glass could get that high up on her foot. On top of that, with the footprints that we saw from the video, the fact that they were full footprints from blood, and the fact we saw some blood in the car, I'm pretty sure we saw blood in the car, tells me that her feet were bleeding from inside the car when she was still inside the car and had basically covered her feet. And then when she got out and stepped, she made these full bloody footprints. So I'm not fully satisfied that she stepped on glass, but I also think it's not important, or as far as the defense for Tory goes, because I think the easily provable theory of this case is that it was Kelsey that was shooting, and Tory went to go try and wrestle the gun away from her, and in doing that, Meg got hit with some collateral shrapnel, some bullet fragments. Like, we can defend that. We can argue that Tory is not guilty and get him pardoned with that theory alone, because he still is not the aggressor, he's not the shooter, he's trying to be the peacemaker. So I'm not too concerned with the glass argument. I understand he wants to focus on it because the evidence is not the strongest that she stepped on glass. And not to say there's no evidence, there certainly is some evidence, but I'm just saying I don't want to really waste time on that, because there's enough of it going either way that we can get bogged down, when I'd rather focus on the much stronger arguments, which is the witness testimony, which is the DNA evidence, and whatnot. So yeah, I see why I'm glad, at the very least though, we're starting to get into the substance of what's being said, or at least what's being raised by Tory's team.
Major point to hit on this page is, again, what a lot of Tory Lanez supporters are obsessed with is the idea that at the scene of the crime where the shooting happened, Megan and Kelsey were in an altercation and they were fighting, which...
Yes, and this is a big point, because I don't know what he's about to say about it, but Megan is on tape, on video, in her interview with Gayle King, saying she did not put her hands on anybody, and to my knowledge to this day has still not acknowledged that her and Kelsey were fighting. And that's despite the fact that Kelsey had claw marks, scratch marks on her legs, she had clumps of hair missing, she had a broken nail and a broken strap on her bathing suit. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, when females are fighting, there's a lot of hair pulling and a lot of scratching and clawing. So the fact that they were fighting and she refused to acknowledge that, it goes squarely to her credibility and cuts directly against the theory of the case, which is that she just got out of the car and was walking away and Tory just decided to shoot at her. What's much more likely, with the knowledge, with the hindsight that no, they were fighting, is that Meg, who's a much bigger woman, she's 5'11", was beating Kelsey. She was curb stomping Kelsey, who's 4'11", and Kelsey, instead of continuing to get curb stomped, went for a gun and decided to shoot. So that is a huge issue in this case, and the fact that Meg has refused to acknowledge that that's what happened, that they were fighting, it just is I think it's so bad for her credibility. But that's my take on it. I'm glad he's talking about it. Let's see what Mr. Fantano has to say.
We're fighting, which, like, honestly, nobody denies that happened. In fact, it's pretty clear that Megan and Kelsey don't really like each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other now because they were both sleeping with Tory, and that love triangle led to them fighting, and then led to Meg getting shot. So of course they don't like each other. But what do you mean no one denies it? Roll the clip, roll the film. I'm gonna play it right now. We have it on video. Meg denying it.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raise my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
Kelsey, not too long after the shooting, actually dropped a diss track toward Megan. I also love how in this section of the website, they cite a song from Megan, a few bars from Shots Fired, where she addresses an instance of chain snatching, where the Genius page, they screenshotted these lyrics from, don't corroborate these bars as having anything to do with Kelsey. But either way, it is clear that Megan and Kelsey are like not super close buddies and friends.
So, okay, so you want to make this gotcha point about, well, the Genius bar says that it wasn't even referring to Kelsey, so, but then you're still going to concede that that verse was cited to show that Kelsey and Meg don't like each other. That's the reason it was included. You're saying, well, actually this refers to somebody else, so that's not a good piece of evidence, but I'm going to concede, I'm going to agree that they don't like each other. So, okay, congratulations, you called it out, you got your gotcha, but then you conceded the ultimate point anyway, which is the point that Tory's team was making, which is that they don't like each other and they were fighting each other. Once again, I don't know if he realized that's exactly what I think. There's a lot of unrealized truths that he's unfortunately not bright enough to pick up on and realize what he's actually saying and doing, but that's why I'm here, right? That's why I'm here, to call it out.
And that on some level they don't like each other. If it was in fact just simply Kelsey who was the sole shooter in this instance and the only person shooting at Megan, why wouldn't Megan just say Kelsey's the one who did it? Again, they don't seem to like each other. When I don't like somebody and they shoot at me, I wouldn't hold my tongue and be like, no, it was this other person. But let's talk about...
Maybe it's because Meg doesn't actually know who shot her. Maybe it's because she was walking away. She was getting wrestled away by Jaquan Smith. And the next thing you know, there were shots fired. And keep in mind, though, Meg never actually testified, Tory shot me. Her testimony at trial was very odd. She was saying things, I think, from what I remember exactly, her testimony was, I saw Tory with the gun, I heard someone say dance bitch, and then I heard shots fired. Well, who fired the shots? Was it Tory? Did you see him shooting? Like, the fact that she didn't just definitively state, I saw him with the gun, I saw him shoot, I saw the explosions, the flashes, and I felt my feet get hit. Like, so he shot me. To phrase it in such a weird way. So, and the fact that she is not comfortable enough to definitively state that, is that not then, once again, leaning more towards Tory's theory of the case, which is that Kelsey initially shot, and then Tory went to wrestle the gun away, and then there were two more shots at that point, and those are the shots that hit Meg? Yeah, I don't think she actually knows who shot her. And so, of course, she's not going to come out and say, well, yeah, Kelsey shot me. I don't know. That seems like once again, just not a compelling argument. We're 2/3 of the way through, and we have yet to actually get any good arguments out of Mr. Fantano here.
About the real big, like, alleged linchpin of this whole new wave of Megan lied and Megan's guilty allegations.
Okay, the linchpin. The argument that Tory's side is relying on the most. Very curious to see what it is. Is it going to be Jaquan Smith's affidavit? Is it going to be Bradley James' affidavit? I would say it is Bradley James' affidavit, stating that he overheard Kelsey admitting to shoot Meg. I think that and the DNA, the fact that Tory's DNA was excluded from part of the gun and inconclusive on another part of the gun, and Kelsey's DNA was never taken to be tested, despite the fact that gunshot residue was on her hand. Those two are probably the two biggest arguments I would make in pointing to reasonable doubt in this case. So he says he's about to bring up the linchpin of what Tory's side is relying on. So let's see if it's either of those two arguments.
This page and all of the stupid fucking hip-hop Twitter accounts that I see
uncritically
posting about this new evidence here, they're really laying everything on this audio from...
He's really saying the linchpin of Team Tory is Sean Kelly, the neighbor? No, I think Sean Kelly, here's my take on Sean Kelly. I don't think he's a reliable witness for either side. I think he made statements where he was saying that the girl... Well, I think it's reliable insofar as he corroborated that the girls were fighting. He said he clearly saw that happening. Beyond that, his testimony got quite wacky because at first he was saying he saw the girls fighting, and then he saw a flash and a bang while they were fighting, while the short man, Tory, was still in the car. And then Tory gets out, and then he said at the trial, Tory got out, and next thing you know, the short man started firing like crazy in all directions. So his testimony, yeah, it really goes both ways. There were parts of it that helped Tory's side. There are parts of it that helped the prosecution. And to me, it all just kind of came out as a wash. Like, yeah, certainly you can pull out the excerpts from his transcript, from his testimony that helped you. Yeah, absolutely. He did make these statements. But on Meg's PowerPoint, she pulled out different excerpts from the transcript that were more beneficial to her side. So I don't see Sean Kelly as weighing much either way in this case. So the fact that he's here saying that Sean Kelly's testimony is the linchpin of Team Tory, that's absolutely ridiculous. What about Bradley James? What about Jaquan Smith? What about the DNA evidence? What about the fact that Meg was lying about them fighting? What about the fact that Meg lied about sleeping with Tory? There are so many inconsistencies and so many holes in this investigation and in this prosecution that are stronger arguments than Sean Kelly's testimony. So the fact that he's saying this is the linchpin, this is just a straw man. And I'm sure he's going to do a great job setting up this straw man to knock him down. But it's easy to do that because it's a straw man. Why don't you actually deal with the steel man, which is all the arguments that I've just been laying out?
Someone who testified at the trial, Mr. Sean Kelly. And I'm seeing posted around this audio of him being questioned a bit, being interviewed by an investigator of some sort. Now, what I find interesting about this audio is that it's quite rambly. The only thing Kelly sounds completely sure of here in this recording is that there was an altercation between the two women who he saw on the scene.
Then the gun, then the girl shoots it. So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you?
Yeah, he's saying the girls were fighting and the girl shot.
I think, is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
When he starts to get to the shooting part of the whole thing, he talks about it being dark, having not seen things too clearly. And then when we get to the very end of the recording, where it sounds like he's about to tell us more, maybe vital information, the recording, of course, just cuts off.
But it was dark, and I'm above, so, but then the guy gets out again from the back.
Now, what I find interesting about just hanging so much weight on this audio of this man who was a witness in the trial is that he testified in the trial and had some pretty damning and definitive things to say about the altercation and the whole situation he saw. Kelly testified.
So, wait, okay, so he's going to talk about Kelly's testimony at trial. What about the excerpts that were just shown there? Where is it? Let me pull it up. He pulled up excerpts here. Several excerpts from the transcript from the trial of what he testified to at trial. But instead he's going to play the clips from the interview before the trial as like, oh, well, here's what he said before trial. But when he actually got down to brass tacks and was under oath under penalty of perjury, he condemned Tory. He was the one that implicated Tory. But no, he testified to all this other stuff at the trial too that corroborated what he was saying in those interviews. So yeah, this is not the gotcha that you think it is.
Some pretty damning and definitive things to say about the altercation and the whole situation he saw. Kelly testified that he saw an unidentified woman fire the first shot, but that he saw a smaller gentleman fire 4 or 5 subsequent shots in quick succession, causing a woman to fall to the ground bleeding. Also,
so we already know that's not what actually happened, because that testimony would mean that it had to be 2 guns. Of a woman fired the first shot, and then Tory gets out with the second gun and fires all these additional shots. So, but we already know that's not true because there was only 1 gun. From the scene, only 1 gun that was recovered. So, and there was been no suggestions whatsoever that there's been a second gun, because also all the bullets, all the shell casings that were recovered all came from the same gun as well. So right off the bat, you can already tell, okay, it's clear he did not actually fully see what happened. He may have seen bits and pieces that we can think are reliable, but this idea of there being 2 shooters already out the gate, this is not reliable testimony whatsoever. So this idea that, I mean, what's the word he just used? Definitive and damning? This is not definitive or damning testimony whatsoever.
Saying, I want to be clear, I never saw a gun, okay, I just saw flashes, he added. He also testified that it appeared to him that the 2 men at the scene were trying to kill the shooting victim. Okay, so again, regardless of what Kelsey may have done at the scene on that day, it's pretty clear from this man's testimony that the bulk of shots, according to him, were fired from Tory in the direction of Megan, and it appeared to him that the two men at the scene were trying to kill her. And again, this is the guy whose audio recording here these people are trying to use as being like, oh, this is evidence Tory didn't do it, man. Again, I swear to God, if you're one of these music accounts like posting this stuff without actually looking into it, you are a fucking fraud. You're a loser.
Well, I'm not quite a music account that's posting about it, but I am a YouTube channel that's gone very deep into this case, and you're calling me a fraud and a loser. So once again, open challenge, open invite to talk about any element of the case that you want to talk about factually or legally. But that aside, I mean, and I've said this before on this channel, every accusation is a confession. It's a famous saying in the law. Every accusation is a confession. So here he is accusing Team Tory of hanging their hat on Sean Kelly's testimony, when in reality, that's what he's doing. He's hanging his entire argument here on Sean Kelly, saying that, well, he said that he saw Tory shooting and that they were trying to kill Meg. Like, you're basing your entire argument on him? Where is here we got 28 more seconds left in this video. Yeah, obviously he's not going to address anything else, any of the other points that I've been making this entire time. So you want to talk about being a fraud and a loser? I mean, look in the mirror, buddy, because you just ignored every credible argument that Team Tory has been making, so you can hide behind your straw man of the wimpy baby arguments that you're relying on. It's unbelievable.
In summation, just want to say that I find it crazy and honestly like mind-blowing that this is still going on and that there's seemingly a lot of money and effort going into this ongoing misinformation campaign. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. Let me know what you guys think about all.
So crazy and mind-blowing and crazy that so much is being poured into this misinformation campaign. But once again, look at that face. No clue whatsoever that he himself is the one contributing to the misinformation campaign more than anybody else. So yeah, that is my reaction to Mr. Fantano, his Don't Free Tory Lanez video. I think I've made my thoughts very clear up to this point, so I'll just be brief. I think he called us frauds and losers. I'm calling him not only a fraud and a loser, but also a coward, because to me, to not address any of the actual arguments that are being made in this case and instead hide behind your baby stupid arguments, that's just, yeah, it's just cowardice. It's cowardice, and I know he's not going to debate anybody about this because, once again, he knows his side is indefensible. The facts and the truth lean way more heavily towards Tory's side, and that's just reality that obviously he's not willing to deal with or contend with. So, yeah, that's it for this reaction, though. If there's any other videos on this case you want to see me react to and similarly bring the hammer to and debunk it with truth and facts and logic and whatnot, then be sure to let me know down below that give me the recommendations. I will take all of them. I got a few others in mind already, but if y'all got any good ones, I'll definitely take those into account. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, like the video if you like coverage on this case. I've been very much appreciating the support so far. Almost at 1,000 subscribers, which covering this case has just taken me so far just in the past week, and so it's been awesome to see. So thankful to see all the fresh new faces all around here, and I hope to continue to see you good viewers sticking around for the foreseeable future, because we're gonna have way more good content dropping and covering this case and many other cases. So definitely stay tuned for all that. Subscribe to come back for more, and yeah, look forward to seeing y'all down in the comments. But that is all I've got for today's video, so I will see you all on the next one.